Yeah, now we definitely.
Thank you. Okay, I've got 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this April 2nd, 2024 meeting of the Henderson City County Planning Commission to order. Want to welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your help on these things. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. David Dixon.
Here.
Kevin Richard.
Here.
Bobby Jarrett.
Here.
Mac Arnold. XR Royster.
Here.
Dickie Johnson.
Here.
Gary Gibson.
Here.
Gray Hodge. Stacy Denton. Here. Kevin Herron. Frank Boyette.
Here.
Heather Taves.
Very good. Do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you. Got several items to deal with tonight. Much of it is in public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of entering public hearing, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. We're in public hearing. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 5 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes are approved. Next item is a amendment to the city zoning ordinance having to do with short-term rental property.
Good evening.
Evening, I need your name, ma'am.
My name is Dawn Kelsey,
Your address.
222 First Street.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. How can you help us with this?
Well, I think Jess is going to get me set up here. So if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, the city is flattering the county by pretty much taking their short-term rental ordinance and making it our own. So I want to go through these, I don't know why it says January 23rd. Go through our ordinance, our proposed ordinance that we have presented to the city commission. It'll be a change to our zoning ordinance. This is really for Airbnbs, VRBOs, things like that. We are getting more of those in the city, and so we are going to start working on zones. I do want to make it clear that this grandfathers all existing short-term rentals in our city. So, as I said, our ordinance is pretty much Henderson County's ordinance, and I think you all looked at this about 2 years ago, but I'll go back through it with you. The general rules are that we allow one sign per parcel that will have this, no larger than 1 square foot. The maximum stay for a guest would be 29 consecutive days. If you hit 30, it's no longer under this. It's more of a landlord-tenant situation. Requiring there to be sufficient parking available for the host and the guest, and it shall not create an increased demand for parking. No food shall be prepared or served to the occupants of a short-term rental. That's a health code issue that both the city and the county have in our rules. The maximum number of occupants at any one time shall not exceed more than twice the number of sleeping rooms plus 2. The occupancy maximum shall be posted in the unit and in advertising. You cannot rent the short-term rental to more than one party under separate contracts. So we have heard from other jurisdictions where people have advertised on multiple sites and then they book. So, that's part of the rules that you have to abide, is that you can only book once. And then the code department of those cities get the complaints on that. So the name and telephone number of a local responsible party will be posted, and that person has to be able to answer 24 hours a day. A clearly marked evacuation plan will be posted on the premises. The permit holder shall be responsible for maintaining proper insurance, and they'll make sure that all of the rental accommodations on short-term rental platforms are collecting the transient room tax. The law has actually made that very clear now that Airbnbs, VRBOs, and things like that are responsible for collecting those transient room tax. For a lot of tourism commissions, they were losing those taxes. So the legislature last session, not this session, but last session, filled in that loophole. They'll have to have, of course, a valid city occupational license and remain current. And like I said, any person who currently operates one will be grandfathered in. But if they change the use or the ownership, then they'll have to get a conditional use if that's required. Zones allowing short-term rental properties without conditional use. When we first brought this to the commission, we said every one of these zones, we wanted a conditional use, but the city commission did not agree with that and asked us to re-evaluate that. So in central business, neighborhood business, general business, highway commercial, and riverfront 2, RF2, they will not be required to come get a conditional use. And the thought was you can operate a bed and breakfast in these areas without a conditional use, and so you should be able to operate a VRBO or a short-term rental in these areas. So we're presenting it to you tonight without that conditional use requirement. All other zones where residential uses are permitted, we will allow short-term rentals, but it will require a conditional use permit. So they'll have to go to BOZA. Oh, there's Mac. They'll have to go to BOZA and they'll have to get a conditional use. The reason that is so important is when we talk to other communities, some of these short-term rentals tend to be party houses. They're in neighborhoods and they're rented, and all night long the party goes on and the police are called, but not much can do. But if we have a conditional use permit, if we get called more than twice and get complaints, then they'll go back in front of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Yeah,
In reading this, I thought it said no parties allowed.
no parties allowed, but if they get 2 violations or 2 complaints, then the
They
codes
lose their
administrator,
conditional use permit.
they'll come, they have due process, so they'll come to BOZA, and I would believe BOZA will revoke that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'll talk after.
Yeah,
you
if
get done.
the property is subject to 2 or more substantiated code violations, the Board of Zoning Adjustment may revoke the approval. So, and that's one of the reasons we really think that, especially in residential zones, that conditional use permits are necessary. Some of the conditions that we would foresee would be maximum occupancy not to exceed fire code regulations, limited number of vehicles, noise limits after a reasonable hour, maintenance, structure repair, mowing, things like that, BOZA would require. And I think we already talked about that if they're routine violated, they can be, I think it's 2 or more, the way that it's written, it's 2 or more. And then we have the end just says that they can advertise on a hosting platform, but if they lose any, if they lose their permit, they have to be revoked, and it has to say what the occupancy is, and that no parties may be hosted as the short-term rental. So those, it's very similar to the counties, so.
Does the city have no such ordinance in place right now?
We have no such ordinance.
Very good. Questions for this?
I think Frank
No,
has one.
I'm a little confused. You said
Okay.
no parties, period, or just no parties if they lose their conditional use permit?
I think,
Or have a couple of complaints on their conditional use permit?
go back.
Who decides if it's a party or not?
I think that they would go to BOZA if there were complaints about I think that the point of it is not to be this is not just for a party, but it's for a rental, an overnight stay.
I realize that these short-term rentals have been party houses in a lot of cities and caused a lot of problems.
Right.
So we definitely need to address that. But I think saying absolutely no parties is a little going too far in the other direction.
Okay.
I mean, for instance, let's say grown children want to come back here, have a short-term rental, and invite all the family for a family reunion. It seems to me that would be a legitimate use.
Frank, I'm sorry, Commissioner Boyd, can I jump in? I remember when we discussed this at the county level, our intent was not to regulate gatherings. Our intent was to, let's say there's a Super Bowl party. You don't want people just come in and have a huge blowout and then causing a detrimental impact to the neighbor. That's what the intent was, obviously.
I
It's just
understand.
it's hard to put
It's
that in
hard, it's
writing.
hard to make that distinction.
But that was the intent when we worked through the county portion, was bachelor parties, Super Bowl parties, things like that, that were just being disruptive to existing neighborhoods.
And I don't think that should happen.
I think it goes back to my question, who decides if this is a party or not?
It could be even worse.
Well, I believe what would happen is if they received complaints, then it would go back to the Board of Zoning Adjustment and they have the due process to go back to the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
And Don, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think at that point, the BOSA would be looking at it if there had been police complaints, things of that nature.
So it's gonna take a complaint to call it a party?
I would believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah. So,
Any other questions, folks? Thank you. We are in public hearing. Is anyone else here this evening like to speak in favor of this ordinance? This is a recommendation situation to the city commission. No one else here wanting to speak in favor? Anyone here who would like to ask questions or perhaps has a problem with parts of this ordinance? I'm hearing none. Nobody else has any questions? Any direction? I'll entertain a motion in regard to the recommending these zoning text amendments to section 4.40 concerning short-term rental property.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go on, Frank. You spoke
No,
for
you-
it. No, you go on.
Forge right ahead. I've already used up my quota.
All right, well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend approval of the city zoning text amendment, section 4.40, short-term rental property.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
yes,
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson,
Yes.
Gary Gibson,
Yes.
Stacy Denton, yes, Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda has to do with a zoning text amendment for the city of Corridon concerning conditional use permits and the use of recreational vehicle as a temporary residence. I think we have a name, sir?
I'm Chris Wisher. I'm the city attorney for the city of Corridon.
Okay, your address?
I live at 5922 Laurel Ridge Drive in Newburgh, Indiana.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Chris Wisher. I'm an attorney with Stolkeen and Ogden, and I happen to be the city attorney for the city of Corridon. Mayor Rhonda Smith is also here tonight. She'll have some comments after me. I understand Mr. Paul Martin and his family are here. It's his property that kind of is the subject of this particular ordinance. As you may know, the Martin residence, there was a tragic fire there in the city not too long ago. There was a death in the family, and there was a total loss of the house. And Mr. Martin approached the city about living in a recreation vehicle camper during construction of his house. He can explain it, or Rhonda maybe can, or Mayor Smith. He has a shop, a garage, and he'd like to be on the property to be able to look after his things and look after construction. So went about drafting, and the city council was supportive of that. Corbin's a small community. I don't know if this is something that you may do everywhere. There are other examples of this that I used to draft this ordinance. Corbin's a community that wants to come together and support Mr. Martin in this endeavor. So we drafted an ordinance, which I hope you have before you, but it would create a condition, under the available conditional use permits, it would create an option for use of a recreational vehicle as a temporary residence during construction or reconstruction of a single-family detached dwelling, subject to certain stated conditions and requirements. And the intention here was to make this, the City of Corydon doesn't want to open up the city to folks living in these types of situations for any reason. Just this particular situation cries out for that. And so there were 6 conditions that we included in the ordinance. The construction or reconstruction must be incidental to the damage or destruction caused to a single-family dwelling, rendering the single-family dwelling uninhabitable. The recreational vehicle must be located on the same lot as the construction. The conditional use permit may be approved for a period of up to 1 year. The recreational vehicle may be moved onto the lot only upon the issuance of a building permit for the construction or reconstruction of the single-family dwelling. So there would actually have to be construction ongoing that would be substantiated by actual in-place permit. The vehicle would be removed within 15 days after issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the constructed or reconstructed single-family dwelling. So once it's over and construction is complete and the house is ready to be occupied, it would have some time to move in, and then it ends. And it would need to be connected to water supply and sewage disposal means and meet other standards and regulations. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Mayor Smith has some comments, and I don't know if Mr. Martin intends to speak or anyone his family, but that's what we're here for.
Commission have any questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Would anyone else here this evening like to speak in favor of this proposal? This is page 12 and 13 of our packet in case people are wondering.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, ma'am, your name
Rhonda Smith,
and your address?
111 Center Street, Cardin, Kentucky.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. So, as you know, we had a fatal house fire in Cardin. The house was destroyed. The resident, he is wanting to rebuild it. He is wanting to, live in a recreational vehicle during the rebuilding phase, just to be there to oversee it, to protect his property. I understand that. We had a special called meeting February 28th. The council unanimously voted to pass this ordinance. So the city of Cardin, we, do support this 100%.
Okay, thank you. Are we also in a situation where we'd be making a recommendation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Same case. Okay. Any questions for the mayor? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming. Is anyone else here this evening like to speak in favor of this addition? Is there anyone else here this evening that might have further questions? I'm hearing none. The commission has no more questions?
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion in regard to the zoning text amendment dealing with section 1103 for the city of Cardin.
We're recommending to the Cardin City Council?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, and they brought this proposed ordinance to us.
gotcha.
Okay.
I move that we recommend to the Cardin City Council an addition of subsection L, use of recreation vehicle as a temporary residence during construction or reconstruction of a single-family detached dwelling.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Frank Boyette,
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Yes. Gary Gibson,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett,
Yes.
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Very good, motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item in public hearing is having to do with the update of the subdivision regulations concerning public utility easements. Mr. Bishop?
Yes, sir. We are requesting an update to section 5.8, item 2 of the subdivision regulations. The regulations currently require a 12-foot front yard public utility easement. We are requesting that that be increased to 15 feet. The reason why is that trends are going in such a way that a lot of utilities want to be in the front of the yard because it's just easier to access water lines, sewer lines, things of that nature. And public utility easements in the back will not completely go away, but they do become problematic at times because people put fences in public utilities, buildings, and it makes harder for, guys like Bart and the guys from Henderson to get back there and work on the utilities. So we have come up with a drawing that HW helped create. Justin, would you mind going to the illustration, please? So this came about during the Jago subdivision process. Matt Calvert, under Bart's staff, came up with a design that would basically show how everyone can go in their own certain spot. So, it may not be popping up, but if you go to page 16 in your packet, it shows out which individual utility will go, and this will work if there's a 15-foot public utility easement. 12-foot, not so much. So on behalf of the utilities, staff is recommending that the subdivision regulations be upgraded to 15 feet instead of 12.
And this only affects the easement on the front of the lot?
Correct. And Mr. Chairman, this only affects on newly created lots from this point going forward.
Okay. So does it affect Jago?
No, it does not, because they had already incorporated this into the design on their own.
Okay.
Now, is that gonna eliminate any new lot? Let me rephrase it. Is it going to eliminate the rear lot easement or utilities on new lots?
I don't think it will completely eliminate it, but it should help reduce the need for those. I think if you ask any utility, they do not like giving up the ability to have easements just because they never know what's going to happen. But the concentration is to put as much as possible
In the
when they
front?
can in the front.
And it basically be in new subdivisions?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience like to speak to this proposal? One way or the other? No further questions, no one wants to comment. I'll entertain a motion in regard to this updated subdivision regulation, Article 5, Section 2.
Mr. Chairman, offer motion to recommend, do I recommend this to the city?
We have the power
Okay,
and to adopt
okay,
that these do not go, subdivision regulations do not go
Okay.
to the city or county.
okay, thank you.
This is the city.
Okay. Offer motion to approve the subdivision regulation update, Article 5, Section 2, public utility easement minimum width.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold,
Yes.
XR Royster,
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Yes. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. Next item is assignment of a zoning classification in conjunction with an annexation, number 1164. Mr. Bishop.
Yes, sir. This property is commonly known as the Bentley Farm. The city of Henderson has requested that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing recommending a zoning classification and amending the comprehensive plan for the property located in Henderson County at 2340 Old Horton Road and Highway 425 bypass, being parcel ID number 46-10, containing approximately 56.25 acres for the subject area. The subject area is currently zoned county agricultural, and staff is recommending city heavy industrial M2 zoning classification for this parcel. As I said, the city has purchased this with the intent of this developing in an industrial nature. It is directly adjacent to the Pratt paper development that has recently came to Henderson. The future land use map does show this developing in a heavy industrial nature. There are adequate utilities along Old Carden Road, water, sewer, gas, things of that nature. And there is an additional water and sewer line directly adjacent to this property that was constructed in conjunction with Pratt paper. At this point, staff has provided a proposed motion in favor of this recommendation, and we have provided the staff report that goes along with this parcel. I will do my best to answer any questions that you have, and I believe we have some representatives from the city here as well, if you have any questions of those.
We've got a string of what appears to be residential along Old Carden Road there. What, is that in the city or out?
I believe it's in the city.
Jess, would you mind going to GIS? And then turn on the zoning layer, please? Third one, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, are you speaking about the yellow parcels?
Yes.
On the map? Yes, those are zoned R1, and I believe those are in the city, but we can verify those individually if you would like. And one thing of note, this does not mean any potential project is done. There's not any review process. In fact, it's the opposite. A detailed site plan would come back to the Plan Commission. At that point, we would look at things like drainage, screening, lighting, things of that nature, like any other industrial or commercial development.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have some kind of buffer there, you know?
Mr. Roy, we will when we have the site plan. That is something that we would look at then. The city zoning ordinance will require a buffering, and typically we will see that on the site plan. And at that point, we would also ask for bonding to ensure that that is installed.
Any other questions for staff from the commission? We are in public hearing. Is anyone else here this evening like to speak in favor of this? We're recommending the assignment of a zone, correct?
To the Board of Commissioners.
Right. Your name, sir?
William Newman Jr., 222 First Street.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyette, I agree with what Mr. Bishop said about the screening. The one thing on this property, there's a ridge line between the yellow area and this farm that's pretty high. We don't have the topographical information on it, but you literally cannot see from the residential side to the
So
other.
there's already somewhat of a buffer there.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now, again, as Brian said, if there were ever a development plan, it'd have to come back, and we would probably strongly encourage there would be some evergreen type buffer or trees or whatever.
Mr. Newman, does that help explain? I have
Oh, yeah.
the topo.
Okay, there are there's access to this acreage from Old Carden Road. Is that what I'm seeing along here?
There is a single lane gravel road that goes to a residential home, which is part of this property. Brian, is it fair to say that the house and about 4 acres are separate from the large farm parcel?
I believe that's pretty accurate.
And, go
Leslie,
ahead.
please, if, to address Mr. Dixon's question as well, there would also be access along 425, which is a controlled access highway. Those are already existing as well.
Brian, can you scroll it the other way though? I think the other question, it looks like maybe there's another, you've got the gravel road in the center, but if you go to the north, that looks like potentially that connects as well to Old Carden Road.
I'm seeing it's 3
That little
potential
corner
places.
right there that you've got pulled up.
I don't bet it goes
Is
that
that-
far.
Mr. Richard, are you referring to
Yeah,
that portion?
that boundary right there. It's,
You could make a
Yeah, there is additional road frontage there, along with the property on 425. Sorry, am I answering your question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be below the ridge level versus the majority of the property, which is above the ridge level.
It's pretty steep in there. Along there, you can see the lines, how close they are, means it's steeper. Dropping down to Old Corden Road. But again, I think we as the property owner, along with the water utility, Bart, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we think any future site development, we would strongly encourage any type of screening between the farm itself as it currently stands and any single-family homes that are located on Oak Corden Road.
And to address Commissioner Boyette's concern too, if you don't mind. So the elevation of the ridge that Buzzy referenced is roughly 420. The elevation near Corden Road looks good, 396, 394. There's a lot of elevation.
Yeah, higher than a house.
And we would expect the main access to this would be off of 425.
Yes.
Commissioner, but that does not alleviate the need for screening, just because it's required by law.
And currently, Oak Corden Road is not designated as a truck route.
Very good. Any other questions for the city manager? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else here this evening like to speak to this matter? Yes, please.
Hi, Brian, I think those houses right there are county, not city.
Let me double check.
I just wanted to make that
Okay.
clarification.
Dawn Drive?
The Pratt lot beside it, is that city?
It is.
Yeah,
So it's just gonna be the same situation as that very large lot beside it. Very good. Any other questions? Anybody else want to speak to this? Commission have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion in regard to number 1164, assignment of zoning classification in conjunction with annexation concerning the Bentley Farm.
I move that the planning commission recommend to the Henderson City Commission that it assign a city heavy industrial district into zoning classification to property identification number 46-10, and that the comprehensive plan be amended to include this area in the city zoning map when it is annexed into the city, and if and when the city assigns the zoning classification following applicable laws, that such zoning classification be appropriately shown in the comprehensive plan and the future land use map.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We need to get these findings of fact into the record.
You don't have any.
Okay, very good. Sorry.
It's a good idea, but it's not like a typical rezoning map amendment.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richards.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
XR Royster. Diggy Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Yes. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes.
Oh, Mac Arnold. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I think that's the last of the public hearing items this evening. I'll entertain a motion to leave public hearing.
So be
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor of leaving public hearing, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Very good. We will move on to non-public hearing items. First item is the March finance report.
We're at 75% of the budget as of the end of March. I'm here for any questions.
Any questions for staff concerning the March finance report? I think everybody's Had a chance to look at it?
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion in regard to approval of that report.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion that we approve the March finance report as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the finance report, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Very good. March finance report is approved. The next item it concerns Elevate Estates lots 1 through 3 preliminary plat. And I'm going to step aside. Our esteemed vice chairman will take over.
All right, I've got the gavel now. Uh-oh. All right, Brian, I guess you're gonna start the discussion on this one?
Yes, sir. This is for Elevated Estates lots 1 through 3 preliminary plat, which is submitted by the Johnson Family Holdings LLC for the property located in the city of Henderson on the Old Massimo Road, being parcel ID number 56-6.14, containing 12.293 acres. The applicants are requesting preliminary plat approval. This site may look familiar to the members of the Planning Commission. In August of last year, they came before us requesting a zone change from ag to PUD, which the Planning Commission recommended to the Board of Commissioners to approve. They are now requesting the 3 lots, the first of which will be used for a service center, the second of which will be for 48 apartments with the possibility of more to come later. And then currently there are no plans for the 3rd lot. And one thing of note, this also will have site plans that come back to the Planning Commission for your approval, where we look at things technical in nature, parking, lighting, things of that nature. And I believe, as you can tell, Ms. Wisher is ready to talk.
Please proceed, Ms. Wisher.
I was here.
I'll get you real quick, I guess I didn't get your name and
Oh, yeah,
address and all
Julie
that
Wisher.
stuff.
My address, 1713 South Main Street, Henderson, Kentucky.
And you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, now you may proceed.
I was here last summer. We were in the process of applying for funds to build 48 permanent supportive housing apartments on site. I will correct, this is my fault, because I wasn't looking at the plat when I talked to Mr. Bishop prior. Lot 1, has no use right now. It may be used for water retention. Try to keep it as green as possible. Lot 3, the larger lot, will be where our Life and Work Ready Learning Center will be located. So I apologize for that. Since last summer, we applied for $15.5 million from the Kentucky Housing Corporation, and lo and behold, we were granted those funds. So we're in the process of doing all of the state and federal required environmental studies, cultural studies, and what have you. Kentucky Housing would like the lot that the apartments will be on, because they'll be using HUD funding and state funding to have its own space, and so that's why we've subdivided this lot.
Anybody have any further questions? or-
Have you done any archaeological investigations?
We're in the process. We have had a request from someone, so we are in the process of doing all that right now.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. Wisher? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any more questions for staff or?
I apologize, I forgot to mention that we received all necessary approval from the technical advisor.
So is there any subjects to on this approval?
Just, not necessarily subject to, but just a mental note that site plans will still come back to the Planning Commission for approval.
All right, no further questions, no other discussion, I guess a motion's in order.
Mr. Chairman, I guess we just make the official action here, right? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve Elevate Estates lots 1 through 3 preliminary plat submitted by the Johnson Family Holdings LLC for the property located in the city of Henderson on Old Madisonville Road, PID number 96 or 56, I can't even see good, 56-6.14, containing 12.293 acres. So that's my motion.
I'm sorry, who had the second?
Thanks, sir.
Thanks,
Thank
Art.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I guess, Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Kevin Richard.
I guess I can't vote unless there's
You're
a tie, right?
correct. You would be correct in that aspect. Sorry about that. Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
XR Royster.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Yes. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
I think we have enough yeses, I don't need to vote, so motion passes. Guess with that said, if we pause a minute, if someone want to grab David, I'll pass the gavel back.
Thank you all.
All right, I'll pass it back your way, David.
The next item is the Danlin Industrial Subdivision Revised Preliminary Plat. Bishop.
Yes, sir. This is submitted by the city of Henderson for the property located in the city of Henderson on Borax Drive, being parcel ID number 46-64, containing approximately 125.19 acres. The applicants are requesting revised preliminary plat approval. The city has requested this to create 3 lots, one of which will be retained ownership by the city. One will be allocated to Hempel for a solar farm, and the other will be made available to the public for sale. Again, those site plans would be required to come back to the Planning Commission once those defined uses are known. We have received all necessary approval from the technical advisors, and staff recommends approval. And I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
So which lot is which? I've got 8, 9, and 10.
I believe the largest lot will be, I will defer to Mr. Newman, but I believe the largest lot is going to be maintained by the city. And from there, I believe the northmost lot is the Temple. Is that right?
And I'm looking at the map, really is not clear, but to answer your question, of the 3 lots, the largest section, which is to the south of the power line easement, and I don't have a way to point to it.
It's right here, but.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, you can see
Technically.
the numbers
There
there,
it
lot
is.
10.
There's a
lot 10.
power line easement right here. It cuts through the property. There's approximately 100 acres back in the back that Hempel has expressed desire to develop a solar farm. The other parcel would be right here, which I think is Lot 8. That is the tract that the city is going to retain for themselves. And then Lot 9 would be the lot that would be offered to the public for sale.
Thank you. Any other questions for the city manager? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commission have any other questions at all? We're revising this, what did it look like before this? It's not that it makes any, no big deal, is it 3 lots?
We can show you, it's one lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion in regard to the Danlin Industrial Subdivision Revised Preliminary Plat as presented.
And this is a motion to approve, right? Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion to approve the Danlin Industrial Subdivision Revised Preliminary Plat submitted by the City of Henderson for property located in the City of Henderson on Borax Drive, PID number 46-64, containing approximately 125 acres. Applicant is requesting revised preliminary plat approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
XR Royster.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Yes. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Very good, motion passes. Last item I see on the agenda is administrative business having to do with continuing education perhaps?
Sure. It has finally come, the day has come, we're gonna have a class here in Henderson. That's gonna be on July 25th at the depot downtown, next to the post office. It'll be from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. It will be worth the whole 8 hours you're required. Box lunch will be provided. I've registered quite a few already for this class, and if you wish to go, I will be happy to register anyone else who would like to attend. It's in our backyard. It's not going to get any better than that if you'd like to knock this out in one sitting.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we can thank Dawn Kelsey and Teresa Ritchie from the city for helping this come here. Done through KLC, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
They deserve the credit.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be nice if this would become a regular thing.
We're hoping to make it one.
That would be great.
I think if we have a really good turnout, that, because we're trying to encourage our counties around us, the cities and the counties around us, that this may become one of their regular.
It's at the depot, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's a good location.
There's-
A good,
Yeah,
Good,
and I should say Abby is providing that for free, the KLC, so that makes it even more attractive to KLC.
yeah. A good location to show off downtown Henderson as well. So please let Heather know if you're interested in that opportunity. I would recommend it. Otherwise, you'll be, watching videos on a Sunday morning or something like that.
Who wants to do that?
Or traveling.
Yeah. Good. Any other business? Bishop? Anyone else here this evening have any business they want to bring up for the good of the cause? Anybody on the commission have something they'd like to bring forward? Well, okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anybody opposed?
Yes.
Anybody opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you all.